Ashtar's 2025 Pleiadian message, 10 Days of Darkness, Spark Global Truth. Brace yourselves for a profound and transformative period awaits a symbolic, yet deeply impactful 10 days of encroaching shadow. This is not a mere forecast, but a direct, resonant message originating from the Pleiadian wisdom stream, channeled through the revered cosmic consciousness known as Ashtar. Envision a celestial tempest, not of wind and rain, but of pure, unadulterated, energetic truth, a cosmic storm of revelation. This tempest systematically, yet subtly, begins to dismantle the intricately woven tapestry of illusion that has long veiled humanity's perception. With each energetic ripple, it activates a burgeoning global awakening, a collective stirring from a prolonged slumber. Simultaneously, it accelerates the inevitable fall of old, ossified systems that no longer serve the highest good, paving the way for the luminous and radiant birth of the new earth. This is the very pulse that pierces through the thinnest part of the veil, preparing to rewrite the grand destiny of humankind itself. To you, radiant and luminous soul, bathed in the nascent glow of awakening, we extend our deepest greetings. I implore you to truly linger on these forthcoming words, allowing them to resonate within the quiet depths of your being, much as one might instinctively pause and attune their senses to hear the faint, prophetic murmur of the wind just before the momentous arrival of a great and undeniable revelation. Indeed, the heavens have been speaking, not through thunderous pronouncements, but in profound silences that stir the very essence of the soul, silences that do not clamor for the fleeting attention of the analytical mind, but rather implore the complete and utter surrender of the heart and spirit. Let there be no misunderstanding. This is not about ephemeral rumors whispered in the dark, nor is it based on ancient superstitions or hollow, empty omens designed to incite fear. On the contrary, what is unfolding is a real, deeply tangible pulse, a living, vibrating wave of energy perceived not with the physical eyes that discern form, nor with the dense, earthly bones of the world that feel material vibrations. It is something invisible, completely imperceptible to the naked eye, yet it is profoundly and fundamentally reorganizing the very substance, the energetic fabric of human experience itself. Observe how lunar, solar, and even interstellar currents, these vast, cosmic rivers of energy, have crossed their paths, converging in a synchronicity so precise, so perfect, that it defies all notions of mere chance or accidental alignment. This extraordinary energetic confluence, this grand celestial meeting point, has effectively given rise to a perfect storm of revelation, a cosmic event designed to unveil what has long been hidden. Understand that this is not an apocalyptic end nearing its devastating conclusion, but rather a meticulously orchestrated process of exposure, of profound cleansing, and of a necessary reordering. Picture it as a delicate, yet deeply impactful surgery without a scalpel, performed directly upon the collective consciousness of humanity. What is arriving, what is breaking through, does not seek to destroy you, the individual. Instead, its profound purpose is to meticulously deprogram the shadow, that dense, illusory cloak that for countless generations hid cleverly among inherited customs, official narratives meticulously crafted to control the incessant clamor of headlines designed solely to distract, and fears that never truly stemmed from your authentic inner truth, but were meticulously implanted through conditioning. Indeed, the signs are already multiplying, manifesting in the most intimate corners of daily human life. Have you noticed these sudden, profound waves of déjà vu that feel less like repetition and more like vivid fragments of long-lost, now miraculously recovered memories? What about the inexplicable, startling shifts in your perception of time, where moments either stretch into eternities or vanish in a blink, and the emotions emerging without any warning, like ancient, forgotten tides surging to the surface, demanding to be not just felt, but heard and acknowledged? These are not random occurrences. This is the deep, cellular memory knocking insistently at the door of your present awareness. This is the long-suppressed unconscious, finally claiming its rightful place at the table of the present moment, demanding recognition and integration. As these inner shifts occur, so too do the external structures that drew their very strength from what they painstakingly conceal begin to tremble, showing the first cracks of their impending collapse. Whatever was sustained, whatever maintained its power through secrecy, through cunning manipulation, or through rigid, vertical control, has now begun its inevitable crumble. Why? Because the very vibration of deceit, of falsehood, is simply no longer compatible with the higher frequency of the coming time. The veils, those gossamer-thin barriers that separated perceived reality from deeper truth, are thinning with astonishing rapidity. The intricate framework behind the grand drama of human existence, once merely intuited as a vague possibility by a select few, is now being undeniably glimpsed by an ever-growing multitude. And as the intricate mechanics of illusion are meticulously revealed, so too does the breathtaking, elegant architecture of truth begin to unveil itself in full splendor. Humanity, in this precise moment, stands at a profound and singular crossroads, a pivotal point in its evolutionary journey. Nothing that is currently in motion, nothing that is stirring within or around us, is superficial or inconsequential. Every single experience you navigate now is a critical calibration point for your soul. Every emotion that rises to the surface, however uncomfortable, is a profound message, a guiding signal from your deepest self. And every truth brought into the radiant light, no matter how challenging or unsettling it may initially feel, is, at its core, an act of profound and necessary healing. Throughout this entire, intricate process, Ashtar and the vast, encompassing family of light do not merely observe, they actively hold the energetic field, preserving the divine direction and protecting the sacred purpose of this grand awakening. They accompany you every step of the way, but they do not replace your individual journey or sovereignty. They guide with gentle wisdom, but they do not condition your free will. They point towards the highest path, but they never impose their will upon you. For it is you who holds the torch of consciousness. It is you who are a participating presence in this grand cosmic drama, not a passive spectator. Humanity, as a collective, holds the nascent dawn of a new era firmly within its grasp. Therefore, this is emphatically not a time for spiraling panic, nor for desperate inner flight from reality. Instead, cultivate an unwavering serenity within your core. The approaching night, this period of darkness, is not a tomb where things perish. It is, in fact, a sacred threshold, a doorway to something entirely new. It is not a cosmic punishment for perceived transgressions. It is unequivocally, a revelation of monumental proportions. The truth, when it arrives, does not come with the intention to destroy what is real. It comes with the sole purpose to clarify, to illuminate, to make crystal clear. The world, as you know it, is not ending. Rather, the world is finally, mercifully, becoming clear, stripped of its long-held distortions. The threshold night, when darkness becomes the womb of revelation, the darkness that now looms on the horizon, is far more than a mere absence of light, a simple lack of illumination. Instead, it is a meticulously prepared stage, a sacred womb of creation, a profound curtain descending briefly, momentarily, to allow for a necessary and monumental change of act in the cosmic play. Before anyone rushes to judge this profound darkness with the ingrained, conditioned reflexes of fear, it is absolutely essential to comprehend its deeper, more profound function. For it comes specifically to show us what the often ignored or even deliberately obscured light could never or would never reveal. Sometimes, paradoxically, only when the false, superficial illumination is completely extinguished can the true form, the authentic essence, finally be discerned with clarity. This conscious night, this period of deep introspection, will systematically remove the flimsy, cardboard facades and, in their place, reveal the raw, unadulterated framework of reality itself. It will, with equal and unflinching intensity, expose the underlying structures of power, the hidden motivations behind actions, the intricate webs of manipulation, and the deepest, often suppressed, inner truths of individuals. There is absolutely no partiality in this grand revelation. It shines its penetrating light universally. Both the collective consciousness of humanity and the individual soul will stand simultaneously before this unflinching mirror of truth. What was once sustained by the dense, heavy vibration of fear will now become impossibly heavy, begin to rust, lose its deceptive shine, and ultimately collapse under its own unsustainable weight, like ancient, corroded metal. In stark and beautiful contrast, what was genuinely born of truth, that which is aligned with authenticity and love, will not only float effortlessly, but will endure, will breathe with renewed vigor, and will stand firm, unyielding, even amidst the most tumultuous storm. Humanity as a whole is now feeling this profound recalibration, this energetic adjustment, even though countless individuals may not yet possess the language or the conscious awareness to name it accurately. Old habits, deeply ingrained and long unexamined, that no longer fit the evolving energetic template, begin to chafe and irritate like old garments that have become intolerably tight and restrictive. Senseless loyalties once blindly adhered to, silently but definitively break apart, dissolving into the ether. Roles that were mere masks, assumed identities, now fall to pieces, revealing the authentic face beneath. Life, at a planetary level, is now actively exposing the false and, with an undeniable urgency, demanding authentic, unadulterated truth from every corner. This threshold night does not ask for desperate flight, for evasion rather. It demands your conscious, unwavering presence. It does not want you to flee in terror. It wants you to look directly, unflinchingly at what is being revealed. It does not come to consume you, to diminish your essence paradoxically. It comes to reveal you, to unveil your true, magnificent self. And in that profound presence, that conscious state of being, the inner compass long dormant, long asleep under countless layers of culturally imposed fear and emotional obedience, finally awakens with a brilliant, undeniable clarity. That newly cleansed and recalibrated compass will unerringly point north once again, serving as a constant, unwavering reminder of who you truly are, what you genuinely feel deep within, and what is inherently true beyond all the convoluted, often misleading, external narratives and fabricated stories. This is not some distant promise, some abstract tomorrow that may or may not arrive, but an operational beginning, a genesis point, manifesting right here, right now, in the present moment. This sacred threshold night marks the precise, pivotal point where the old world, with all its worn-out paradigms, visibly cracks, begins to fracture, and the new world begins its powerful, undeniable pulse, even if still quietly, beneath the surface of apparent reality. In that profound crossing, as you traverse this sacred threshold, the soul's paramount task is singularly focused, remain conscious. The language of the heavens, supermoon, solar winds, and the choir of comets, the heavens do not merely adorn the night sky with beautiful spectacles, rather, in their intricate dance and phenomena, the heavens profoundly announce. Nothing in their majestic movement is random, it is a meticulously orchestrated cosmic ballet. Nothing in their grand symphony, playing across the vastness of space, is mere decoration or a fleeting, insignificant flourish. Instead, it is a living, breathing language, vibrant and dynamic, as ancient as the very first spark of consciousness that ignited within the universe itself. And to those who possess the profound wisdom and inner sight to look beyond the superficial landscape of visible phenomena, this celestial script reveals itself with crystal clarity. Indeed, every subtle phase of a planetary body, every ethereal glow from a distant star, every silent vibration emanating from the celestial vault is a meticulously coded message, a divine communique intended for Earth and every intricate being that inhabits its vibrant surface. Consider, for instance, the awe-inspiring supermoon. Its potent gravitational pull is famously known to lift the colossal seas, drawing tides to unprecedented heights. Yet this influence extends far beyond the physical realm, for it also gently, yet powerfully, lifts memories. What moves the vast, undulating waters of the ocean also profoundly stirs the inner waters of the human psyche, bringing surging to the shores of our conscious awareness a torrent of long-held emotions, intricate family histories, and even entire lineages, all of them seeking profound clarity, a release from the shadows of the past. This celestial influence does not usher in chaos, as some might fear. Rather, it heralds a profound revelation. What emerges into the light of awareness is simply what was patiently awaiting illumination, truths long buried or hidden, now ready to be seen. Solar flares, those dazzling outbursts of energy from our sun, represent yet another potent chapter of this same grand cosmic language. They do not merely bathe our planet's magnetosphere with their intense radiation, creating stunning auroras. They also penetrate and reach into the most intimate, often hidden corners of the vast tapestry of human experience. Imagine pockets within the soul where emotions were long encapsulated, tightly sealed away, perhaps for self-preservation. Imagine also the deep weariness of the soul, weaving invisible knots of stress, trauma, or unresolved patterns. These powerful waves of solar light, acting like an invisible yet precise energetic solvent, penetrate these hidden chambers, unraveling the intricate knots that bind, and ultimately cleansing the emotional and energetic landscape within. This is not a violent assault, it is, rather, an act of exquisite precision. It is akin to an energetic surgery, performed without the need for instruments or the infliction of pain, its sole, compassionate purpose being to gently clear away the accumulated layers of fear, judgment, outdated beliefs, or past wounds that have prevented the experience of true, authentic feeling. And then, there's the third magnificent chorus of this celestial message, the comets, and the enigmatic interstellar messengers. Their luminous passage across our skies is not merely an astronomical accident, a random occurrence in the cosmic ballet, but rather a profound vibrational reminder, a resonant chord struck in the depths of our being. They introduce an exotic note, a novel vibration that gently, yet decisively, loosens ancient ties that may have bound us for lifetimes, the ancestral patterns, karmic loops, or collective agreements that no longer serve. They bring a frequency that thaws long-forgotten memories, allowing them to surface for healing and integration, and ultimately releases bonds that simply do not belong to the evolving energies of the coming time. Their mere ethereal presence in the firmament is inherently disruptive, a gentle yet potent force that challenges the status quo. They interrupt rigid, ingrained patterns of thought and behavior, challenging the powerful inertia that keeps us stuck in comfortable but stagnant routines. They work to dismantle habits that, though once perhaps serving a purpose, have gradually solidified and become restrictive chains. The profound beauty of this entire process is that it demands no forced effort on our part. You do not need to push against resistance, struggle to control the unfolding, or try to manufacture a specific response. Integration, this organic merging of new energies and old truths, happens as naturally and inevitably as dawns do each morning without noise, without needing human permission, without consulting the arbitrary ticks of human clocks. It simply happens. One morning, you awaken, perhaps to the gentle light of a new day, look out at the world that has always surrounded you, and suddenly, you see it differently. You perceive more than before, see with a newfound clarity that cuts through illusion, and discern with a depth that penetrates to the very essence of things. The profound result of this internal shift is an undeniable clarity. Where confusion once reigned, obscuring every path, the authentic outline of your true self, your genuine purpose, begins to take clear, undeniable shape. The genuine gains an immutable weight, a tangible solidity, while the false becomes strikingly evident, revealing itself as unsustainable, a mere house of cards destined to collapse. Where unthinking habit once dictated every choice, the liberating possibility of conscious choice now brightly appears. Where automatic reaction once ruled, leading to predictable outcomes, conscious, purposeful movement emerges fueled by independent thought, guided by a purposeful, sovereign direction. Thus, the heavens speak to us, not for you to cower in fear, but to remember your innate power and connection, not for you to kneel in submission, but to rise with undeniable clarity and empowered sovereignty. Smoke and mirrors how the script of control exhausts itself for millennia. The old scripts of human control, those intricate narratives designed to govern our collective reality, rested precariously yet powerfully on three insidious pillars: fear, distraction, and forgetting. Fear, like a suffocating blanket, systematically shrank consciousness, constricting our perception until it became no larger than a pinpoint. Distraction, an incessant barrage of stimuli, fragmented our precious attention, shattering our focus into countless tiny pieces. And forgetting, perhaps the most damaging of all, disconnected the very essence of our being from its divine origin, its rich spiritual history, and its inherent inner sovereignty. For centuries, this cunning tripod subtly sustained a silent, pervasive manipulation that insidiously governed cultures, dictated beliefs, shaped economies, ignited wars, and meticulously crafted official narratives, all without most even realizing the puppeteer's hand. This system, with its deep-seated agenda, fundamentally needs you to live perpetually on the surface of existence, skimming across trivialities like a stone skipping on water. Why? Because those who dwell in the shallows of superficiality, never plumbing the depths of their own being, invariably become predictable, easily molded, and thus effortlessly controlled. Therefore, it relentlessly fuels your anxiety, that gnawing unease that permeates modern life. It amplifies your constant, breathless sense of urgency, convincing you that there's always something you must do, must react to, must achieve, and it relentlessly perpetuates your perception of perpetual threat, keeping you in a state of hypervigilance. It masterfully hijacks your most precious resource, your attention, and with your attention, it cunningly hijacks your inherent power. It requires no physical chains, no visible restraints. It simply suffices to saturate your world with an overwhelming cacophony of noise, both literal and metaphorical. It systematically robs you of stillness, for it understands a profound truth in the sacred space of stillness. Clarity awakens, and clarity, by its very nature, is utterly incompatible with subjugation. The old control script meticulously magnified sensational headlines, creating spectacles designed to capture and hold collective gaze. It masterfully generated jolts of shock and outrage, keeping populations in a constant state of agitated arousal. It skillfully manufactured enemies, both real and imagined, to direct collective fear and anger. It cunningly divided peoples along countless arbitrary lines, fueling hatreds and fostering animosity, ensuring that collective energy was always spent fighting each other rather than seeking truth. And it multiplied distractions, an endless carousel of entertainment and triviality, ensuring minds were always occupied but never truly engaged. The overarching goal was never to reveal truth, but rather to achieve the total occupation of your mind. For an occupied mind is a mind without sovereignty, a vessel without a captain, and a startled, anxious mind is a mind that invariably obeys. However, a new chapter is unfolding. This present time brings with it a different, higher frequency, a vibratory shift across the planet. The incoming currents, like an invisible spotlight, are now meticulously exposing the scaffolding of this grand illusion, revealing with stark clarity the strings behind the theater, the hidden mechanisms of manipulation. Consequently, the meticulous engineering of alarm, once so effective, is rapidly losing its potency. Why? Because the collective consciousness, a vast tapestry of human awareness, no longer vibrates at the same low wavelength as fear. And when the fundamental vibration changes, the very reading of reality undergoes a profound transformation. What once controlled with an iron grip now provokes an instinctive rejection, like a body expelling a toxin. What once terrified, shrouded in manufactured mystery, now appears glaringly evident, even grotesquely absurd in its transparency. This monumental shift is not unfolding as a war of shouts, a clamorous battle of noise against noise, but rather as a silent, profound cleansing of vision, a gentle yet potent detoxification of perception, and an exquisite restoration of our inner sense. A heart rooted in calm, unshaken by external tumult, now effortlessly distinguishes what was deliberately sown to manipulate from what genuinely arises to liberate. There is no longer a desperate need to argue so vehemently, to engage in endless debates, for the truth, in its purity, simply recognizes itself within a receptive heart, while lies, by their very nature, require elaborate decoration, immense effort to maintain, and constant repetition to gain any semblance of credibility. The entire farce is now becoming clumsy, awkward, and undeniably transparent. The truth, in contrast, stands self-evident and utterly inevitable. And when truth, unadorned and unapologetic, finally appears, it does not strive to compete, nor does it engage in debate, nor does it seek to impose itself through force. It simply endures. Like light entering a darkened room, it does not fight the shadow, it simply renders it unnecessary, illuminating the space until darkness can no longer exist. This profound transformation is occurring in real time, within individuals, within communities, and across entire nations. Sovereignty in the eye of the hurricane, the uncompromising axis, the exterior world may indeed rage as a tempest, a maelstrom of chaos and uncertainty. But deep within you, at your immutable core, exists a sacred, tranquil space that knows no storms. That radiant center is a perpetual clear sky, an expanse of unblemished peace. That unwavering center is your sovereignty. It is not something constructed with impenetrable walls or fortified with unyielding armor, as one might build a fortress. Rather, it is built with the subtle yet immense power of pure, anchored presentia, profound state of being fully aware and rooted in yourself. Sovereignty is not synonymous with hardness, nor rigidity, nor arrogance, nor a detached emotional isolation. On the contrary, sovereignty is the profound, active remembrance that your inner state, the very sanctuary of your being, is not for sale to the highest bidder, not up for auction in the marketplace of public opinion, and certainly not the spoils of any external event, however tumultuous. It is not a commodity to be negotiated, a treasure to be surrendered, or an authority to be delegated to another. External forces, with their relentless currents of fear and urgency, will relentlessly try to drag you off your course. The storm, with its deafening noise and its seductive urgency, will try to convince you with the potent illusion that you must react, that you must engage with its frenzy in order to survive. But true strength, the kind that endures and transcends, does not emanate from shouting louder or from internal tension, but rather from your unwavering axis, your inner core. That silent, unmoving axis is your intrinsic inner authority, the profound, inherent ability to govern yourself, to chart your own course, even when the entire world outside screams contradictory instructions, attempting to pull you in 1,000 different directions. It is the unwavering capacity to look directly at the heart of the tempest without allowing its fury to decide for you, without letting it dictate your truth or your next move. Your mind, subject to the external stimuli, may waver, buffeted by doubt and fear. The environment may press in with immense, suffocating pressure. External voices, both seen and unseen, may relentlessly try to dictate your truth, to define your reality for you. Yet, the heart that remembers its divine origin, that knows its true home, does not lose its inherent north, its unerring compass point. The heart that deeply knows who it is and from where it ultimately comes does not, under any circumstance, negotiate its unwavering axis. That, precisely, is the indelible mark of inner sovereignty, not responding from an instinctive place of fear, not acting on fleeting impulses, and certainly not handing your emotional helm, the steering wheel of your inner world, to any foreign current or external influence. From that profoundly sovereign state, decisions cease to be mere automatic reactions to external stimuli. They cease to be makeshift patches applied simply to quiet the moment's noise or to temporarily alleviate discomfort. Sovereign decisions, true and aligned, are born directly of clarity, and clarity, by its very nature, simplifies everything it touches. Clarity cuts through all excess, exposing the unnecessary baggage we carry. It deftly dismantles manipulation, revealing the insidious hidden agendas behind the smoke and mirrors. It reveals the essential, the core truth of any situation, and inevitably returns you to your rightful place, that centered point of inner authority, the only vantage from which your presence, your actions, and your very being can have a real, profound, and lasting impact on the world. When a hurricane-force storm strikes a tree that is shallow-rooted, without a deep connection to the earth, it mercilessly uproots it, tearing it from the ground. But when that same powerful wind strikes a tree that knows itself, a tree deeply rooted in its own truth and strength, the wind does not uproot it instead. It merely causes it to sway, only further embedding its roots more deeply into the steadfast earth. Destroy it paradoxically, such attempts only strengthen it. This is the subtle, often misunderstood, dynamic through which true sovereignty operates. It doesn't confront the storm heathen, engaging in a futile struggle against its raw power, but neither does it succumb to it, becoming swept away by its overwhelming force. Instead, it remains anchored within, poised and unwavering. It observes the tempest from a place of calm, understanding its patterns without being consumed by its frenzy. It chooses its stance, its internal response, its trajectory, refusing to be dictated by the external chaos. And in that profoundly silent act of non-resistance and deliberate choice, the hurricane, however ferocious its outer manifestations, fundamentally loses its insidious power over your inner world, becoming merely a spectacle rather than a controller. Fear as the architecture of a system, transmuting to liberate for centuries. Fear has served as the invisible, yet incredibly sturdy architecture sustaining entire control structures that dictate human societies. It's not a brute force, but a subtle, insidious, and devastatingly effective psychological leverage. How does it work? It operates by subtly paralyzing our innate intuition, that quiet inner knowing that guides us toward truth and safety, leaving us adrift. It narrows our once expansive vision, forcing us into a myopic focus on perceived threats, blinding us to possibilities and shared humanity. It cunningly divides communities, sowing seeds of mistrust and antagonism, turning neighbor against neighbor, group against group, eroding the very fabric of collective strength. Most tragically, it persuades countless souls to surrender their most precious possession, their inherent freedom, for the hollow, fragile promises of security that inevitably prove illusory. Fear, in essence, transforms the human spirit, with its vast potential for innovation and love, into fertile ground for relentless manipulation. Why? Because those who are gripped by fear invariably stop exercising their fundamental right to choose, and instead, they start mindlessly, obeying, relinquishing their agency. Those who fear are tragically disconnected from their authentic inner voice, the compass of their own soul. In its place, they hear only the loudest voice, the one amplified by media, authority, or panic, rather than the true voice of wisdom and discernment that speaks in whispers. With fear as the underlying justification, unimaginable excesses are normalized surveillance states, preemptive wars, the curtailment of fundamental rights. With fear, enemies are not merely identified, but actively manufactured, conjured from shadows and stereotypes to unite populations against a common, often fabricated, foe. With fear, entire peoples who share common origins and aspirations are tragically fragmented into warring factions, each consumed by a perceived threat, forgetting the profound truth that they were all born of the same earth, children of the same humanity. With fear, measures that would be utterly unthinkable, morally repugnant, and logically absurd in times of clarity and peace are readily accepted, even embraced as necessary evils. Is it any wonder, then, that the established system tirelessly protects, actively reproduces, and endlessly amplifies this pervasive emotion? It is the lifeblood of its continued existence. Fear is, without question, the oldest and most effective currency of human control, a legacy inherited from countless generations. Yet a profound shift is occurring in this very stage of human evolution. Fear is being exposed, its mechanisms laid bare for all to see. This revelation is not confined to illuminating external realities, the machinations of power, but extends inward, piercing the deepest inner shadows of our own psyches. When fear is recognized, truly seen, without any embellishment, without any excuse for its presence, and stripped of every mask it wears, be it anger, anxiety, or cynicism, its oppressive weight significantly diminishes. Fear isn't dissolved through the futile act of denial, pretending it doesn't exist, or through desperate evasion, trying to run from its grip. No, it is transmuted through the courageous act of unflinching seeing, fully acknowledging its presence and its nature. What is seen in its totality, from every angle, every shade, every implication, fundamentally loses its tyrannical hold. The process of transmuting fear requires no arcane rituals, no complex philosophical concepts, and certainly no tangled theories to unravel. It is, at its heart, an act of radical, unapologetic honesty with yourself, a brutal self-inventory. You consciously name what genuinely hurts you, what raw wounds you've allowed to fester, what painful truths you have consistently avoided confronting, what inconvenient realities you've diligently hidden beneath layers of intellectual arguments, clever justifications, and endless distractions. In the courageous act of naming it, of bringing it into the light of conscious awareness, you systematically strip fear of its undeserved privileges, its perceived authority. You begin to disidentify with it, understanding that it is not you, merely an experience. You transform it from a looming master, dictating your every move, into mere information data points for understanding, no longer a ruler of your inner domain. In that transformative moment, where a conditioned reflex once automatically dictated your reactions, a conscious, deliberate response now emerges, born of profound awareness. Where you once reacted impulsively from a place of wounded instinct and primal alarm, you now choose your actions with calm discernment from a state of unwavering lucidity. And with every single fear that is deactivated, that ceases its incessant drumming, an expansive new door swings open. Through this door, life, in its vibrant fullness, rushes in, eager to be experienced. It's a door through which consciousness breathes again, drawing deep, refreshing breaths of clarity and truth. It's also a door through which the pervasive control system, relying so heavily on fear, loses another vital brick in its meticulously constructed, yet ultimately fragile, edifice. When the grip of fear finally falls away, sovereignty or inherent, undeniable right to self-governance unmistakably returns. When sovereignty returns, strong and resolute, the system that feeds on your acquiescence suddenly runs out of its vital fuel. Its power wanes, its mechanisms falter, its authority crumbles. And thus, in this magnificent internal revolution, true freedom, not merely rhetorical promises of it, profoundly begins to manifest. The collective mental ocean, choosing which thoughts inhabit your house, consider this: not everything you think, every impulse that crosses your mind, or every emotion that stirs within you, truly originates from you. It never fully was yours in an isolated sense. The human mind is not, as we often perceive it, an isolated island, a solitary fortress hermetically sealed from external influences. Rather, it functions as an open port, continuously connected through invisible channels to a vast, boundless ocean of mental activity. This ocean is teeming with waves of emotions, resonances of shared experiences, echoes of ancient memories, and countless thoughts, all floating in humanity's expansive collective field. Millions upon millions of inner voices navigate this invisible, yet incredibly influential ocean. Have you ever felt surges of desire that you didn't consciously initiate, as if they simply arrived? Or sudden, inexplicable fears that weren't born from your personal story or current circumstances? What about anxieties that seem to have no direct root in your individual experience, yet consume you nonetheless? This human collective field is precisely that: a dynamic sea of potent signals, a vibrant territory where ideas, impulses, narratives, and emotions circulate freely, constantly seeking a receptive host. The old system, the one built on control and manipulation, understood this profound truth about the interconnectedness of minds and, crucially, it exploited it with ruthless efficiency. It meticulously learned how to sow pervasive panic, debilitating doubt, and artificial urgency into the very currents of that collective mental sea. There, with cunning precision, it planted repetitive, often negative, thoughts that manufactured fear out of thin air, presenting it as undeniable reality, and it orchestrated endless distractions, meticulously designed to divert human attention away from their inner truth and toward empty horizons, fleeting trends, superficial conflicts, and trivial concerns. Thus, it successfully kept the individual perpetually trapped in a debilitating mental storm, their minds constantly occupied, their inner selves divided by internal conflicts, their spirits endlessly worried, their cognitive faculties saturated with noise, rendering them utterly unable to hear the quiet, unwavering guidance of their own sacred center. The collective mind, under this incessant bombardment, became an overwhelming cacophony, a deafening roar of conflicting signals. And in that relentless noise, the delicate, truthful inner voice of humanity was, for a time, tragically silenced. But today, a palpable shift is occurring. That exhausting, draining cycle is showing clear signs of unwinding, reaching its natural limits. A new inner pact is quietly, yet firmly, being born, emerging from a simple, silent act of profound recognition. Your mind is not a public thoroughfare, but a sacred house, a sanctuary. And within its inviolable walls, you are the sovereign. You, and only you, decide. You choose, with deliberate intention, which thoughts are granted entry and which must, without question, be escorted out. Your mind is sacred, inviolable territory, and absolutely no thought, regardless of its origin or apparent urgency, has the inherent right to govern you without your explicit, conscious consent. Serene observation becomes your most powerful guardian, a vigilant sentinel at the gates of your mind. You do not need to engage in furious battle with every intrusive thought. There's no need for energetic wrestling. You simply need to see them, to acknowledge their presence without judgment or attachment, allowing them to pass through your awareness like clouds drifting across the sky. At first, this practice seems deceptively subtle, almost insignificant in its simplicity, perhaps even too passive. But very quickly, that seemingly small habit blossoms into a decisive, transformative power. What you observe from a detached perspective, without identifying yourself with its content, invariably loses its grip, its manipulative power over you. Conversely, what you consciously choose to hold on to embrace and nurture, inevitably becomes your inner reality, shaping your experience. And what you reject with unwavering clarity and conviction, releasing it without a second thought, simply dissolves, often without leaving a lasting trace on your psyche. When your inner house is thus ordered, meticulously curated, and consciously governed, the external tempest, however fierce, mysteriously loses its ability to influence you. The world's clamorous shout, once so dictatorial, no longer possesses the power to dictate your inner climate, your emotional state. The mind, once a chaotic stage for incessant noise and external dramas, undergoes a profound metamorphosis, becoming a serene council chamber, a place of quiet deliberation and profound wisdom. There, within that sanctified space, your soul, your deepest essence, now chooses, unburdened by the insidious influence of fear. There, you arrive at conclusions with clear-eyed wisdom, responding thoughtfully rather than merely reacting without consciousness, as you once did. There, in that profoundly personal space, freedom begins to be not just an abstract concept or mere political rhetoric, but a tangible, lived reality. The greatest revolution unfolding in this extraordinary stage of human history isn't occurring in the grand halls of governments, nor is it shaking the foundations of external structures alone. It is fundamentally occurring within the vast, intricate landscape of the individual mind. And when you, as the conscious sovereign, effectively govern your own inner house, no collective storm, no matter how turbulent or overwhelming its external manifestation, can ever truly topple you from your secure inner foundation. Divine intelligence, the silent system sustaining everything beyond the chaos, beneath the noise, and intimately woven into the very fabric of existence. There's a living, omnipresent intelligence operating with exquisite precision in every single heartbeat, in the miraculous dance of every cell within your body, and in the majestic, silent orbit of every celestial body in the boundless cosmos. It is the inherent order that steadfastly keeps the distant star on its unwavering course, the powerful ocean in its timeless, rhythmic ebb and flow, and the intricate human body in its complex yet harmonious balance. This profound intelligence demands no ornate temples for worship, claims no arduous tributes or sacrifices, and is neither distantly remote nor frustratingly inaccessible. Rather, it responds with elegant reciprocity to openness, to receptivity, and to inner coherence, much like an infallible inner compass that has never truly ceased to exist, though the deafening clamor and incessant demands of the external world may have, for a time, covered its subtle guidance. Crucially, this intelligence does not impose its will. It respects your free agency. Instead, it gently offers itself, manifesting in myriad subtle yet powerful ways, appearing as a calm, unshakable certainty that arises from within, even amidst profound uncertainty, as a sudden flash of lucidity, emerging without any clamor or struggle, illuminating a path forward as a profound understanding that descends effortlessly, dissolving complex problems without the need for strenuous mental effort. In moments of intense pressure, when a human mind drowns in a sea of endless hypotheses and anxious speculation, when personal strategies and painstakingly crafted plans inevitably fall short, this boundless intelligence does not judge you for having tried to navigate alone. It does not humiliate or admonish. Instead, it gently gathers you, lifts you up from your self-imposed struggle, and tenderly reminds you that you are, in truth, not separate from its all-encompassing wisdom. It is precisely where your meticulous calculations become utterly insufficient, where your logical frameworks break down, that the unexpected and often miraculous appears. Perhaps it's an uncanny synchronicity that perfectly aligns circumstances, or the sudden appearance of the exact person you needed to meet, an improbable encounter that shifts your entire trajectory, or a serendipitous turn of events that no one could have possibly anticipated. When one human-made door decisively closes, seemingly blocking your path, this benevolent intelligence, with its infinite creativity, unveils and opens a window you didn't even know existed, revealing entirely new vistas of possibility. This is not mere chance, nor is it some random accident. It is the manifestation of a higher, benevolent order, subtly and gracefully making room, without any fanfare or noise, within the everyday agenda of your life. This divine intelligence operates in silence, not out of weakness, but out of profound strength. It is silent because it does not engage in petty competition. It does not shout for attention or validation, and it patiently waits to be chosen, to be invited into your awareness. Its fundamental language is alignment, a harmonious congruence with its inherent wisdom, not frantic urgency. Its sole condition for engagement is elegantly simple availability. When you consciously choose to release the suffocating tension of control, loosening your white-knuckled grip on how things must unfold, and genuinely become available, open to its guidance, this intelligence acts with a breathtaking precision that your finite human mind could never hope to manufacture or replicate. It reveals itself, step by careful step, showing you not just a way, but the most efficient, the most dignified, and unequivocally the most elevated path for your unique evolution and highest good. It asks for no Herculean feats of strength, no impossible acts of perfection from you. It asks only for a humble yet profound coherency and authentic alignment where your thinking, your feeling, and your acting all originate from the same unified inner place, your true self. When that sacred alignment happens, as if by magic, your entire life begins to order itself, effortlessly falling into place. The path ahead unfolds with clarity and grace, and in that profound realization, you discover that your very existence was always, in truth, a divinely guided weave, intricately designed with purpose, rather than an improvised chaos born of random chance. Surrender is not losing the art of letting go. Life, in its profound wisdom, orchestrates much beyond our immediate grasp. Force exerted without a guiding compass inevitably drains our vital reserves, leaving us depleted rather than triumphant. Similarly, control imposed without the humility to listen, without truly hearing the nuances of a situation, ultimately fractures the very things we seek to hold together, leaving behind shards of what once was. A will relentlessly push to its absolute extreme, devoid of flexibility or compassion, risks hardening the heart into a cold, unyielding anvil and twisting the mind into an impenetrable, self-made labyrinth of obsession and anxiety. Does it not often feel like a futile struggle? There indeed comes a critical juncture on our journey where mere insistence, the stubborn clinging to a particular path or outcome, ceases to be a testament to courage. Instead, it degenerates into a cacophony, a discordant noise that drowns out intuition and wisdom, echoing only our own desperate resistance. Surrender, at this pivotal, often agonizing stretch of the path, is not an act of capitulation or a resigned waving of the white flag. It is far from giving up or retreating into passivity. Rather, it signifies a profound, internal recalibration. It means shifting the very center of your being, redirecting your locus of control from the anxious, striving ego to something far vaster. It is the conscious, courageous act of handing the helm of your life, not to despair, but to an intelligence infinitely broader than your immediate urgency, a serenity calmer than your most gripping anxiety, and a wisdom far deeper than your clamorous need for instant results. Is this not a radical act of trust? Surrender is the quiet remembrance that the grand, intricate flow of life, the inexorable current of existence, comprehends far more than the ego's frantic haste could ever conceive. is about humbly allowing that ancient, sustaining current, the very one that has carried you from your origins, to reclaim its rightful place as your guide. This is not sluggish passivity, a mere surrender to inertia. It is, in its essence, a dynamic alignment with the universe's rhythm. It is not a crushing defeat. It is paradoxically a profound rest, a strategic pause, but always in the right and most benevolent direction. When you genuinely surrender to the essential, to the core truth of the moment, a palpable release occurs. The tightly clenched fist, a symbol of your tenacious grip, slowly, almost imperceptibly, unclenches. The lines of tension etched upon your face soften, your expression transforming from strained effort to a gentle ease. The mind, burdened by its self-assigned duty to meticulously foresee and control every conceivable outcome, releases this impossible mandate, shedding the weight of countless potential futures. And in that very moment of letting go, an astounding clarity emerges, a limpid, unobstructed vision that no amount of sheer force, no amount of strained effort could ever hope to produce. Have you ever noticed how the most profound insights often arrive not during a struggle, but in moments of quietude? Life, in its infinite complexity, does not require your tensions, your anxieties, or your desperate exertions to act on your behalf. Instead, it yearns for your inner consent, your unreserved openness, your willingness not to obstruct its natural, benevolent flow with the rigid, often fear-based expectations you cling to. Every single time you valiantly attempt to control the uncontrollable, to bend the unyielding to your will, you wear yourself down, diminishing your own spirit and energy like waves futilely crashing against an immovable cliff. Yet every single time you choose to accept what isn't with resignation, but with a spacious awareness, and allow the next natural move to gracefully reveal itself, existence itself, in a magnificent dance of cooperation, seems to conspire with you. Is this not a more graceful way to move through the world? Surrender, then, is the profound cessation of fighting against an imagined wall, especially when an invisible door, a clear and open pathway, exists for the gaze that, in its relentless insistence, only ever remembers to push forward. When something in your life inevitably falls away or collapses, it is not always, nor even often, a defeat in the traditional sense. More often than not, it is the profound hygiene of destiny, a cosmic cleansing. It is life, in its surgical precision, removing those old, calcified structures that could no longer possibly sustain, nor even contain, the expansive grandeur of your next unfolding chapter. What crumbles before you may not have been actively betraying your trust. It may simply have been a heavy anchor, silently holding you back from your true potential. What reaches its natural end may not have been a cruel punishment. It may, in fact, have been a liberating act, setting you absolutely free. The human mind, in its primal instinct, often recoils from the void, rushing frantically to fill any perceived gap, even with the familiar and outmoded, even if it demonstrably no longer serves its purpose. Wisdom, in stark and beautiful contrast, breathes deeply and patiently holds that sacred space. It does not succumb to the frantic impulse to invent hasty substitutes out of a deep-seated fear of silence or emptiness. It intrinsically understands that if an authentic, unadulterated space is held with unwavering trust, the right form, the perfect solution will gracefully arrive in its own organic time, not in the anxious, feverish timeline dictated by our fears. Even deep internal fractures or jarring external ruptures, those moments that feel like the world is splitting apart, often carry within them a profound message and a hidden gift. A seemingly devastating loss may, in hindsight, be revealed as a critical course correction, gently nudging you toward a more authentic trajectory. A painful closure, an ending that feels definitive, might very well be a hidden side door, leading to unexpected new beginnings. A humbling fall, a moment of perceived failure, could in fact be a providential detour, a divine intervention preventing you from walking unwittingly toward a destiny far lesser than what you truly deserve. The ego's map, with its insistent demand for control and immediate gratification, is famously drawn with unwavering, straight lines, charting the most direct, efficient route. The spirit's map, however, painted with the brushstrokes of divine wisdom, contains paths that gracefully turn, strategically retreat, surprisingly fork, and constantly delight with unforeseen twists and revelations. Why? Because they do not seek mere efficiency, they are solely in pursuit of a deeper, more meaningful purpose. Surrender, then, is the courageous acceptance that not every forward motion will necessarily feel like conventional progress. There are, indeed, steps that outwardly appear to retreat, yet they are vital maneuvers, allowing you to gather essential momentum for a more powerful leap forward. There are pregnant pauses, moments of seeming inactivity, that are, in truth, diligently building invisible foundations for future endeavors, strengthening the very ground beneath your feet. And there are, of course, the long, arduous nights that, in their profound darkness, are quietly preparing the most radiant dawns without return, forging something entirely new. The old, conditioned world within you, fueled by immediate gratification, perpetually seeks instant answers, quick fixes, and clear-cut resolutions. Your deeper, intrinsic wisdom, in luminous contrast, intuitively knows to wait for the graceful turn of the true, the unfolding of what is authentically meant to be. Nothing genuine, nothing truly essential to your being, is ever lost in the act of surrender. What dissolves and falls away is only what no longer possessed the necessary support, what was already tenuous. What was truly meant for you, your essence, your purpose, your true connections remain steadfast and enduring. What was not, simply and gracefully departs, making space. Surrender does not diminish your strength or weaken your resolve. Instead, it restores your rightful, natural proportion within the grand tapestry of existence. It gently lifts from your weary shoulders those burdensome weights and responsibilities that never truly bore your name, freeing you from the crushing, desperate attempt to control the relentless current of life. Instead, it guides you back to the highest art of living, the profound practice of listening, the graceful act of allowing, the effortless wisdom of flowing, and the authentic power of responding not from contraction and fear, but from a place of clear, expansive clarity. The true, enduring victory in life is not found in dominating the mighty river with brute force, but in mastering the exquisite art of navigating its ever-changing currents with grace and resilience, without ever breaking your spirit or your core. Inner unity and the call to the new work from symbol to construction humanity, weary and yearning, no longer needs another hollow slogan echoing in the void or another rootless speech devoid of substance. What it desperately craves, what it fundamentally requires, are real bridges, tangible connections that span divides and bring disparate parts together. And these essential bridges, these vital conduits, are not built with mere noise, with a clamor of empty rhetoric or superficial declarations. They are painstakingly forged with profound presence, with conscious awareness and genuine engagement. Nor are they constructed primarily in the external world first. No, their true, enduring architecture commences deep within the human spirit. The true work, the work that genuinely transforms, does not arise from knee-jerk reaction, from impulsive responses to external stimuli. It emerges pure and potent from a place of deep, holistic integration. Consider the utter impossibility of trying to construct a truly new world, a world of harmony and progress, from a psyche shattered into fragments, a heart tragically divided against itself, or will perpetually at war with its own conflicting impulses. How could such a foundation support anything lasting? Thus, before any external structure, any societal framework or collective endeavor can be authentically established, the human individual is being called with an urgency both quiet and profound to reconcile their own inner parts, to heal the schisms within, to gather into a single, cohesive flame what for centuries has dwelled in opposing, often warring, extremes. This inner unity, this profound integration of self, is not merely a desirable state, it is, unequivocally, the foundational bedrock upon which anything truly new and lasting can be built. When the heart, so long silenced and overshadowed, finally recovers the resonant voice that was stolen by the incessant din and clamor of the world, a powerful inner compass instinctively activates, pointing true north. When intention and action, often at odds in our daily struggles, cease their internal fighting and at last align in harmonious synchronicity, life, with a newfound grace, gains clear, unmistakable direction. And when the shadow aspects of our being cease to be perceived as terrifying enemies to be repressed, and the light we project ceases to be a mere mask worn for external approval, then, and only then, does the humanity within you become a truly habitable territoria, place of comfort, acceptance, and profound self-integration. And in that magnificent moment, when you yourself become truly habitable, a welcoming home for your own spirit, the external world miraculously ceases to be a daunting battlefield and transforms instead into a fertile, nurturing ground for growth and co-creation. The old, worn-out structures, whether societal, personal, or institutional, will inevitably falsum, will crumble naturally from sheer wear and tear. Their time having simply passed, others will yield to the mounting pressure of changing times and evolving consciousness, and many, perhaps most powerfully, will simply collapse from a lack of inherent sincerity, their core truth having eroded. They no longer possess the genuine veracity to sustain their existence. And when what was held in place merely by habit, by unquestioning tradition, or by pervasive fear finally gives way, a vast, undeniable void will appear. That void, seemingly frightening, is not a threat to be frantically avoided. It is, in fact, an unparalleled opportunity, a blank canvas awaiting new creation. What humanity collectively chooses to do with that sacred, expansive space will be utterly decisive, shaping the contours of our shared future. In that critical interval, that pregnant pause between the old and the new, some will undoubtedly attempt to cloak the past in new names, to merely repeat old, familiar forms while subtly preserving the same tired script, hoping to avoid the discomfort of true change. But the burgeoning new era has no need for such disguises or cosmetic alterations of the old it yearns for, and indeed demands truly fresh, authentic design. The world that is destined to come, the world we are called to co-create, will not be founded upon divisive factions, empty slogans, or the rigid hierarchies of thrones. It will be built steadfast and true upon the bedrock of truth itself. And truth, by its very nature, does not divide, it intrinsically unites, because it requires no external imposition, no forceful persuasion. It simply sustains itself through its own inherent resonance and clarity. From that profound inner truth, from that authentic, unified core, will emerge cleaner, more transparent relationships, fairer and more equitable agreements, leaderships that genuinely serve without seeking to enslave, and vibrant communities deeply conscious of their uniting, shared purpose. In that new, sacred pact, loyalty will not be pledged to fleeting ideologies, charismatic figures, or transient flags. No, loyalty will be to the timeless principles of authenticity, to unwavering coherence, to the sanctity of life itself, and to the inherent dignity of every Bainad dignity, so luminous that no darkness, however profound, could ever hope to extinguish it. Being a bridge, then, is more than a role, is a calling, a sacred vocation. Some souls were born with the innate gift to build these bridges, envisioning and forging the connections. Others are destined to be the first to bravely cross them, blazing new trails. And still others are called to hold these bridges steady, to maintain their integrity, while their fellow travelers hesitate, perhaps fearful of advancing into the unknown. But all, without a single exception, are invited, compelled even, to participate in this profound, epic-defining work. And that work, this grand undertaking, will no longer be relegated to the realm of mere symbol or abstract idea. It will manifest as concrete, tangible construction. With a soul unified in its purpose, a mind cleared of distraction, and a heart open and available to the greater flow, the human being ceases to be a passive spectator of their own destiny. Instead, they rise to become an active, conscious author of the dawn, shaping the beautiful realities yet to unfold. We were, we are, we will. Oh, cherished, beloved souls pulsating with life upon the verdant tapestry of earth, cast aside any lingering shadow of doubt or despair. The celestial realms, from which all blessings flow, have not, even for a fleeting moment, recoiled from your presence. Was there truly a sense of being forsaken, a chilling void where divine care once resided? No, there was no callous abandonment, no desolate, indifferent silence echoing through the cosmos, suggesting you've been forgotten. Understand this deeply: the luminous family of light, those who stand in radiant solidarity with you, do not descend upon your world with intentions of usurpation or displacement. Their purpose is not to overshadow your inherent brilliance, but rather to cradle you in unwavering support, to bolster your spirits, and to amplify your own nascent strength. Indeed, we are not here to shoulder your sacred burdens, nor to complete the intricate tapestry of tasks laid out before you. Our true purpose is far more profound. It is to gently awaken and eloquently remind every single soul within humanity of the formidable, intrinsic strength it has always possessed, a latent power that resides deep within, often obscured but never diminished. Furthermore, we come to recall the magnificent, soul-stirring mission each of you, in your infinite wisdom, solemnly vow to undertake and splendidly fulfill even before your conscious journey into this earthly realm began. Consider your profound role. You, the very essence of humanity, are the vibrant, tangible presence, firmly rooted and actively engaged on the living, breathing ground of this world, touching and transforming its physical reality. And we are the steady, watchful presence, an unwavering accompaniment observed from the expansive, shimmering horizon, always near, always guiding, yet respecting your journey and your immediate engagement. This pivotal period you currently traverse, so often and so somberly marked in your calendars and hearts as days of darkness or times of profound challenge, is in no way a punitive measure. It is not a cosmic retribution for perceived transgressions, a harsh decree from an unforgiving judge. On the contrary, understand it as a dynamic, inevitable process of profound clarification, a sifting and sifting until only truth remains. For when the pure, unyielding light of truth begins to intensify, blazing with an almost blinding brilliance, it acts like a powerful cosmic beacon. What was meticulously hidden beneath layers of illusion and deception is now startlingly revealed for all to see. Structures, systems, and beliefs that no longer serve humanity's highest good, that have grown brittle and corrupt, are destined to crumble and fall away, much like ancient, weakened walls collapsing under their own weight. And that which has for so long meticulously sustained the intricate architecture of the lie, its very foundations, now irrevocably disintegrates into dust. In this grand unveiling, only what is truly authentic, what resonates with the core vibration of truth, will steadfastly endure. Therefore, perceive this enveloping darkness not as a chilling condemnation, a final judgment passed upon your world, but rather as a profound, albeit sometimes unsettling, announcement. It is the hushed corridor you must traverse, the sacred space that precedes an era of unparalleled clarity and brilliant understanding. Imagine it as the weighty velvet curtain descending dramatically at the end of a long act, not signifying the end of the play, but precisely so that an entirely new, more magnificent stage can be meticulously set and prepared for the next, even grander performance. While you, immersed in the immediate experience, might label this period simply as night, a time of obscurity and waiting, we, from our vantage point, recognize it for what it truly is: a pivotal threshold, a sacred portal to something entirely new and transformative. Picture this future when the turbulent dust of upheaval finally settles, when the cacophony of fear and discord at last subsides, and when the accumulated debris of broken systems and shattered illusions is thoroughly cleared away. What will remain? The very air you breathe will become profoundly clearer, lighter, and more breathable, filling your lungs with renewed hope. And your collective view, unburdened by past obscurities, will stretch immeasurably farther, encompassing horizons you could scarcely imagine before. Admittedly, the path forward will not be without its challenges. Yes, there will undoubtedly be profound wounds to carefully tend, heartfelt tears to gently dry, and myriad structures both physical and energetic that will require diligent rebuilding from their very foundations. But accompanying these necessary efforts, there will also emerge a distinctly different quality of peace. This will not be the fragile, superficial peace you once knew, a tense quietude sustained precariously by veiled threats and uneasy silences, always on the brink of shattering. No, this will be an enduring peace, a peace with deep, resilient roots, organically born from the profound, hard-won understanding of all that has been intensely lived, fiercely fought for, and finally overcome. And that, beloved souls, will be the poignant, glorious moment when countless among you will stand tall, your brow serene, your hearts whole and overflowing with an almost unimaginable sense of accomplishment. With unwavering conviction, you will declare, "I was present, fully and completely, during those epical times. I did not cower or flee from the storm. I did not deny the challenging realities unfurling around me. Nor did I allow my precious soul to yield, even for a moment, to the insidious grip of fear. Instead, I stood as a steadfast witness to the grand unfolding. I became a living bridge. Connecting the old to the new, I planted myself firmly as a resilient seed, holding the promise of future growth. With every fiber of my being, I actively accompanied and lovingly nurtured the arduous, yet miraculous, birth of an entirely new era. Therefore, during this transformative period, we implore you steadfastly remain anchored in your deepest, truest axis, that immutable core of your being, where inner peace and wisdom reside. Hold aloft your personal torch, letting its unwavering flame illuminate your path and guide those around you. Do not, under any circumstances, allow yourselves to halt or falter before the deafening, disorienting noise of what appears to be a precipitous fall or collapse. For what seems like an ending is, in fact, merely a potent prologue, setting the stage for an epic narrative yet to unfold. Trust implicitly allow the pure, unadulterated truth to perform its sacred, cleansing work, unimpeded and unhurried. That seemingly endless night, which stretched out before you like an insurmountable abyss, was, in reality, nothing more than a temporary transit, a necessary passage. For on the other, brighter side of this threshold, a magnificent earth patiently awaits, an earth fully capable of remembering and reclaiming its glorious, luminous name, its true divine essence. And you, beloved souls, you will be that pioneering generation, courageous and steadfast, who will proudly and unequivocally pronounce that sacred name, not with hesitation or trembling, but with absolute conviction and a heart full of triumphant joy. Understand our enduring promise: we were, we are, and we always will be a constant, unwavering